This day 755 the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. We'd be very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Simon Tov Samach Zayin, Sif Aleph through Zayin. Tov Samach Zayin. This has the longest title of a simon I have seen so far, I think. Zin Dogan Shnafel Amayim, halacha of grain in which water fell. Bedin Shibolim, Shimalim Tzmachim, and the halachas of stalks from which there is growth. Varemos, Shiordoleng Shamim, and piles upon which grain has fallen. Begarin Shimsubatav Shil, a kernel which is found in a cooked dish, Obitzli, or a roasted dish, Omlicha, or a salted dish. Bedin Perisivation, and the halacha of dried fruit. It's a long simon too. Aleph, chitim shitbu benar, if you have wheat which drowned in a river. Oshavalei mayim, or water fell upon them, menachim with snikar b'hem, you can't tell if they became chametz or not. Tilachim with snikar, because if you could tell that they become chametz, and lo shum chashash, shemiknei mehem b'yisrael b'pesach, em shorachimutz. There's no issue that a Jew might purchase them on Pesach because he sees they're chametz. Havgal shasach couldn't get them in a shuk, even though when in a pinch we do buy flour from the marketplace. Lo shchir, that it's not prevalent. Mishmur says some poskim are machmir because a non-Jew might grind them and sell them. But our minhag is we don't buy flour for Pesach from the marketplace anyway. So therefore there'd be no issue as what there's not going to be an issue. What is no issue about we haven't yet seen. But there'd be no issue in Makam Adchak we make them. Because what exactly we make on? Okay. Says Roshon says that the fermentation is not recognizable. Yes, chashash yisol yikneh b'hem Pesach, and there's a concern that a Jew might buy from them in Pesach. Shimcha atchidim leYehudi if you sell the sweet to a non-Jew. V'yinomar lo shishem achar Pesach, and if we at achar Pesach we tell him to wait after Pesach, haloya the Jew who owns the wheat, haloya yavar bayirah, might be violating bayirah. L'cholam eno tzar kokach, and he doesn't need to eat them so much. Not sure exactly what it means by that, but okay. Zemru chachamim shemochel Yisrael, you sell to a Jew. Modienu shem chamutzim. You let them know that the chametz. Yochim kolim Pesach, you should before Pesach. Or yim kireim, or sell them le'enu Yehudi, sell them to non-Jew, but ma'at, a little bit of the flour, chol echad ve'echad, they shiochlaim, or the grain, a little bit each person, they shiochlaim, on Pesach, so that he can consume before Pesach. And then we're not concerned he's going to go back and turn around and sell to the Jew. I feel Israel, and even if it was sold to a Jew, since it's very little, it'll be finished for Pesach. Yesh machmir, those say the are machmir. The gam Yisrael lo yimko el mat even to a Jew should only sell little by little. But there she on Pesach, so it should be finished for Pesach. But a lot no. If you tell him that he should finish for Pesach, because he might come to fail at this, fail and keep it for Pesach as well. Mishnah says when you let him know, you can sell him even a lot. If you don't let him know, even a little bit, you're not allowed to sell them. So, okay, takes away the whole issue of little by little to a Jew. Okay, back to it. Now are we have a custom to sell our chametz to a non-Jew for Pesach? Don't sell them for Pesach. There's no hefseid. Wait after Pesach. You sell them as part of your parcel of chametz. And sell them in the marketplace after Pesach is over. Mishnah Berurah writes, according to this, an Erev Pesach in the 5th hour, if it's not possible that it's going to be, you're going to complete the chametz for Pesach, you can't sell to a goy even a little bit. Nevertheless, if there's a place of hefsin Reuben, many achorim agree that with a non-Jew, that you know he's not going to touch it, but he's going to keep it through after Pesach and then give it back to you. The Jew can sell him a lot, which is a fancy way of saying what the Arukh HaShulchan basically just said. Okay, back to the Arukh HaShulchan. What if this happened by a non-Jew? His his wheat fell into the water, or water fell on them. You saw a Pesach where there's a major concern. Is there something to Jew for Pesach? You have to make a pronouncement. Pesach Knesset Pesach Medrash. In the shuls and in the Batei Medrash, Pesach not to buy for Pesach from this wheat. Even though by Yisrael we don't rely on these announcements. Yitzhak Nishim Krei Matmak on Pesach, and require him to tell them a little bit before Pesach. But for a non-Jew, what other choice do you have? There's a question here. How do we have such halacha? The sign that wheat became chametz is when the kernel split. So either way, look at it. If they came split, so Jew knows not to buy them for Pesach. They didn't split. So what was the concern here? The answer is given by the Torah and Shana that this wheat upon which water fell came with the menach naicha, since they were soaking in water. Asyan lidechim was saying come to chametz apel nisag baku, even if you don't see them being split. Even though when it came to washing grain, and saying about that, if they didn't split its mutter, that's because you're engaged with them to moisten them, but and the activity with them prevents them from becoming chametz. But just soaks there. Kind of like here, they're considered to be chametz even if you don't see any split in them. Mishnah Berurah says, even though they don't soften either, it's still also. Tion says, but if they're hard, so you can still sell them to a non-Jew. Okay, back to Arukh HaShulchan. Some people distinguish between wheat and barley. Wheat has a kind of indentation in it. So it's chametz even don't see it split open more. Shayim b'sar as opposed to barley, which is doesn't have an indentation. So there, it has to be split in order to indicate that it's chametz. Yesh chalkim ben the lifam ruben, to those who made the distinction between a large spillage of water, leave moetas, and a small spillage. If there's a large amount, they don't have to split or crack. But Tur Shonah says that there is Shona, the Tur and Shonah go like with the first perspective. The Bialocha writes, but the Bach seems to hold that only Chatchila you have to be concerned with a small amount of drip, and that's the opinion of the Pri Chadash. So it sounds like from the base mayor, I think. That you have soon, you can be relying on this. Anyway, like Arukh HaShulchan said in the first if all of it's not nogeh, but it's manazeh, because we don't buy the flour that hechsher on Pesach, or for Pesach, I should say. We don't bake on Pesach with flour. Okay. It sounds like the way of Rambam. The issue is because it's stationary and it's soaking there, not because of the size of the drip. Therefore, the Rambam writes, you should be careful that water or rain does not come spilling on the wheat. Because then even they don't crack open, they're also a kind of show. You can ask if he say how do we buy wheat from a non-Jew in a year when it rained during the time of the harvest? And in the non-Mediterranean lands, it's very prevalent that there's rain at the time of harvest. It's not like rain which fell on piles. Well, you'll see it's not an issue. So last time there, it's that the rain didn't penetrate into the piles. We shall see. That's relevant to large piles. But when you are harvesting, when you know that it's scattered in little amounts, in small amounts. Um, in other words, the grain is scattered in small amounts on the face of the fields. Leave it there for a long time till you make the piles. Obviously, the rain impacts on each and every stalk. So, that's the question. Why am I not concerned with this? So, if we knew for sure that this grain had rainfall in it when it was after they were harvested, Father also told me Pesach. You can't use for Pesach. But we don't assume that this happened. Because most people don't harvest on a damp day. Even the non-Jews don't. Because the grain's going to get ruined. And they primarily and preferably harvest when the sun is shining. And then even if it rains, they stop harvesting until the rain passes. A little bit that was harvested, so they put immediately the grain into a silo, somewhere else, where it won't be affected by the rain. Therefore, unless there's some reason to be concerned, we are not concerned. Because certain eventime rain, our baseman, and when there's a lot of rains, there's a lot of time it doesn't rain, and that's the time when they harvest. Checking about rain was supposed to pile, but so which stand for a long time in the field. There's a concern, and that's why we need the reasons which will become clear later on. Which will become clear. Doubt, Okasav, the Ramah also wrote, the Dogan Shem Munach Balia, if you have grain which was in a second floor, the Yordo Shem Derech Hagag, and rain came through the roof of Kamakoimas into the second floor, when they became moist, those became moist, are asuros, are forbidden. Hashem goes to other places where the rain did not come through. Mutar Lashoisim, you're allowed to leave them around because fake sveka. There's a double doubt. Maybe rain didn't fall on these kernels. If you say they did fall, maybe they didn't come chametz. But that's not enough to allow you to eat on Pesach. Only to keep and sell after Pesach. Avalo mahani fake sveka doesn't work with that purpose. Akal shoro. Fake sveka is always effective. The reason the Ramah here is mishum. The suffix Hashem is suffix gomer. Second suffix is not really a suffix. Just to go say it's more reasonable, more likely that if the rains on them, they will become chametz. I'll show some David Rabbanan, which is in terms of leaving them around, which is only a rabbinic prohibition. Shaybita ba'orli udalad, the bittul. Chashinas fake steker. For that we use the fake steker. The rights of not for eating, which is the rights of prohibition. Peace and Nomar Aquinas will say the din zayin but koyim Pesach. Is all if it takes place before Pesach. A Pesach, Alamani Bitla Kodim on Pesach, Bitla doesn't help. But the Mefarshim, in fact, write that really fake Sveika should work even until I would eat it. But because there's no loss, so therefore it's Machmir. But if there's a loss, you're even allowed to eat on the basis of that fake Sveika. There's Dainir Kamoshko Savnu that it does not allow you to eat. She more lenient here. She says that the Achorim agree that you should not be Machmir unless there's no hefsed whatsoever. But if it says a hefsed or a curtailment, so because you have to be matir even to eat from this grain. If some snow or water fell on a pile of grain, you grow yoni on a. There's a special word for a kri, not a silo. Escape me for a moment. You grow. Obviously, it's open to the air. It's some sort of container. Yigrov al-yonim. Then you should scrape off the top kernels. The rest you eat. The water only affected the kernels on top. Brackets here. V'dino sharma avia beisel shem agod the rebellion Mizrachi v'voy chmiru. Rav Yohita aidei lechol mitzvah going on Pesach. Lochlam bePesach mishum sveik sveika. Okay, so there are a whole bunch of issues here. The Machmir in the halacha of the Ramah that when it rains into the second floor, you should aser the grain, and the Rav allows you to eat little by little before to eat some of them before Pesach, and then you can eat the rest on Pesach because it's fake because maybe the ones in Shulchan it's already eaten before Pesach. Since the Ramah didn't mention, however, that you should eat some of them before Pesach, so must be the Paschals like the Reim and Riva, and you shouldn't eat it, but only you're allowed to leave them because of the reason which rewrote. And it's not really his fake sveka. And that's a raya for his, Shun takes it's a raya for what he wrote. It's a raya for Reina. Hey, Masa B'Yisrael is a story about a Jew. They bought wheat from a non-Jew. Another Jew came and asked the guy to sell him also not wheat. Amar said, I have no more wheat because the first Jew came to me. I like him very much. And some wheat which I rinse for my own house. Because I love him so much. So now there's the first Israel have to assume, maybe he actually rinsed the grain. No, the first Jew is not concerned about this. He's not believed after the grain is no longer under jurisdiction to say that he actually made it wet. But if you personally believe him, the valley also then, of course, it's also. Arukh HaShulchan says no. The machmir no matter what, because he doesn't know the halacha of that making wet was the problem. He's telling you innocently. He's telling you that I made them wet because I like them so much. So therefore, he has credibility. Nobody forced him to say we wouldn't rinse them. Even true he could have done this because he was horny. To show how he loves the Jew. It's difficult to be lenient concerning chometz in this manner. Says brackets, can you learn to use light? Mishnah says he's not believed even if he was Mesiach Vituma. Again, Mishnah is more making than Arukh HaShulchan. But he does say if non-Jew is credible in the eyes of this person, then it's also even if it's not Mesiach Vituma. Fermented wheat. Which got mixed up with kosher wheat. If the fermented wheat is not nikar, it's not recognizable. Yavish is like any mixture of dry and dry. Shabbatarov, which is nullified by a simple majority. Leave it till after Pesach. But if you can tell which ones became fermented, also you can't leave them around. Something which is recognizable, you can't say it's butter and the rest. If you want to grind it before Pesach, let's see if I'm at shishim and to add up to make it 60. Yochel asos kain. You can do that. If the Kohen Pesach butter b'shishim before Pesach, it's butter b'shishim. V'enochas menir. It doesn't make up again on Pesach. Because flour it's considered to have the same status as a liquid measure, a mixture. It doesn't get aroused again. Even baked on Pesach, because they're buttered from before Pesach. About this to add up to 60 is not considered to be nullifying a prohibition deliberately, which is also Rabbana. For Pesach, there's no issue that you're nullifying. Okay, Mishnah Berurah says that the Rachmanim say it's also to mix chametz for Pesach with shishim in order to eat them on Pesach, but you are allowed to mix with 60 in order to keep it around till after Pesach. Mishnah Berurah says, nevertheless, the Shas Chak, it's possible to rely on the Mekilim, which Arukh HaShulchan does, that before Pesach you can vato because now you're Isser. Says Arukh HaShulchan, Avol, however, in Lo Tochno and Kohen on Pesach, you're not grinding before Pesach. Lo Tochno Pesach, you want to come grind them on Pesach. Afilim Einam Nikorim, even if you can't, they're not nikar by themselves. It's a mixture. Also, it's forbidden. So Yavish be Yavish because the manir. Yes, it's Yavish be Yavish, but it's aroused again. That if it's dry, it wakes up again. That upon him, mashu chametz vaday yesh kan. I'm sorry, I skip. Some of the grains for Pesach, so you could say maybe the chametz is in then. Kanki is also been there. Upon him, mashu chametz vaday yesh kan. There's certainly a mashu of chametz here. So you would have to grind them before Pesach, not on Pesach. Because he says, Pesach, if dry mixture got mixed up on Pesach, one of the things was of the questionable things was eaten the mutar, the rest of the mixture is mutar, Kamashlam, you're there, Sim Kuvur, Ein Sham, Tzarachim. Understand, Imam can be Samashu. Is it true? We say by Isra Mashu that if you ate one, the rest are mutar. Says maybe Isra Mashu means they're all us, no matter what. He says, "I am Korchaim Sekotes v'Yeshma v'Yeshla Hachmir." Can't assume that just because you ate some of it, this wasn't what it was eaten. Zayin Chitim Shabo B'Sfina. If you have grain which came in a ship, Imam Yeveshlos v'Kosher, they're dry and hard, Lishlam Marian, and they don't look any different. Absolutely, we don't assume anything prohibited occurred. Mutar in their minute. Imam Rakos only Shtana Marian, but they're soft or they look different. Also, Lechomei and Pesach can't eat them on Pesach. Mila Shosin there's anything pay, but then after Pesach that's okay. Avatur Kasa B'Shem Bahag. To write Sachitim Shabo B'Sfina if you have grain which came on a boat. Imachos saying if they're soft or Shtana Marian or the look changed. It's known that water fell on them. Also, you can't leave them around. So it says only if they've got significantly moist or significantly changed the way they look. It's only a little bit softer. They're not look much different. So there's no concern to leave them around, not to eat them, but to leave them around. It's not true. If you know where it came on this grain, as I feel cloud, even though they didn't change at all in the way they look. They're still hard. But perhaps you can leave them around. Came a shame kashim cloud since they are hard and did not change at all.